Hey everyone, so this is going to be the first of a three-part video series on nihilism. I'll definitely be making more videos on this topic in the future. So in this video, I'll be exploring why nihilism is better than existentialism. I really wanted to make this video because I believe nihilism gets a very bad rap. Whenever you share an opinion about the meaninglessness of life, most people just think you're crazy or too pessimistic and dark. But I want to change this perception because I believe this kind of thinking largely stems from ignorance or an overindulgence of optimism and the illusory belief that life is good. Personally, I don't see why people treat nihilism with so much aversion. It's merely a philosophical belief and it ought to be regarded sincerely as such. Anyway, I thought I'd begin with a quick definition of nihilism. So nihilism is defined as the rejection of all moral and religious principles in the belief that life is meaningless. Now in this video I won't be discussing the rejection of morality. Instead I'll be focusing on the ontological benefit of existential nihilism, which is the philosophical theory that life has no intrinsic meaning or value. I'll do this by comparing it with existentialism, which I'll also just quickly define now. So existentialism is defined as a philosophical theory or approach, which emphasizes the existence of the individual person as a free and responsible agent, determining their own development through acts of the will. Basically, this means that you create your own meaning within your life, whereas nihilism embraces the futility and pointlessness of life. Now, I've come up with an analogy for existentialism which I'd like to share, and for lack of an appellation, I'm just going to call it the infinite paths analogy. So just imagine that you're born into a world with an infinite amount of paths to choose from, and each path you're on furcates into an infinite amount of other furcating paths indefinitely. The problem with existentialism is that you never know if the path you're on is the right path or not. And even if you are sure you're on the right path, you can't ever be happy as you're still always after more. Plus there are also those who are only semi-content, who know what path they want to take, but are too afraid to take a risk and to alter their path of comfortability in some kind of dead-end job. But I believe the biggest fault with existentialism is the overwhelming degree of existential suffering it causes in one's endless pursuit to find meaning. There are so many paths to choose from, and you're always second-guessing, wondering if you're on the right path or not, or if there's a better path that you should be moving towards. This can be unbearable to the point of depression. But fortunately, there is a way out of this ceaseless uncertainty about life's meaning, and the answer is nihilism. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to a complementary analogy I came up with, and again, for lack of appellation, this one is going to be called the zero-path analogy. So in your unfailing attempt to find meaning, you've become depressed and are suffering an existential crisis. And now let's imagine that all these infinite paths that were causing you anxiety have become erased. Now there are no more paths. Automatically you're completely liberated from existential suffering. There's no more tiresome pursuit of meaning because there is no meaning. You're free to make whatever path you want and to change it as often as you'd like, all the while knowing that life is meaningless. It doesn't really matter what you do at all. Now, I don't want you to be afraid of this idea that life is meaningless. I'm sharing this with you because I've found it to be an incredibly powerful way to liberate oneself from existential dread. Now, you may be asking yourself, but Brad, if life has no meaning, why don't I just kill myself? But in order to know that, you'll have to stick around till next week, where I'll be discussing the paradox of nihilism. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next week, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.